This is Sam Prue from Who Would Win Masters. We've opened new official channels and we want you there. Follow Who Would Win Masters on Instagram and subscribe to youtube.com/@WhoWouldWinMasters. And on YouTube, click the Visit Community button to leave your 1v1 battle challenges. Leave a comment and you might just hear it read on the show. Be a part of the arena, be a part of the debate. Now let's dive in.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
All right, the battle may be over, but the arguments are not. Welcome back to another wrap-up show for Who Would Win Masters. Tonight, we reveal the results for 2 battle polls. We're reading your 5-star reviews and comments that you've left on the Discord and the Patreon and elsewhere to see how you thought these fights played out. I am Sam Proof on all of the socials, and when we asked you who would win, Albert Wesker or Bishop and Daredevil versus Killer Croc, at least one of you left a comment longer than the rest of you combined, and I think we're just going to be reading that one comment for tonight's show, and no one can say elsewise because I haven't introduced anyone yet to do so, but let's do so. Joining us once again, and I'm going to do this relatively quick because, again, that comment's so long, we're going to be here 3-4 hours. Welcome back. Ernie Carothers, Blerd Without Fear, who repped Bishop against Ray's Albert Wesker. Ernie, thanks for joining us again. How you doing tonight?
Right. Doing great. Thanks for having me.
All right. And of course, Eric Heiting, who repped Killer Croc against Gina's Daredevil. Gina, however, is busy doing some small con they do down in San Diego, apparently, called Comic-Con. Never heard of it. I didn't get this shirt at the 2010 Comic-Con, might give or take a year, but I am wearing my Saragossa Planet shirt in honor of Gina, who has decided conventions are more important than us. How's it going, Eric?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for joining us. And, of course, joining us tonight, the man who has already checked out because he's going on holiday tomorrow. It is Ray Stacanis. And Ray, can I just say that I hope you find a nice festive shirt to get into vacation mode instead of all those drab garments we typically see you in.
No, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be wearing a plain black t-shirt and the most nondescript pants possible. That is my vacation. This is work outfits, and I don't want to work when I'm on vacation.
All right. Fair enough.
I'm lying, of course. Everything you've seen me wear on this show is exactly what I'll be wearing just on vacation because that's how I dress roughly 24/7.
That's what I thought. Yeah. You and Chan, I imagine, go together to try on shirts and do your own montages. That's how
I've been accused of ripping off the fashion style of one Robert Clark Chan. And let me say for the record, you're not wrong.
I think maybe we need that video of the Ray and Chan shirt montage from a la 80s style,
I'd like to see them 20.
I got more coming too. I'll say that.
All right. Why don't we have our own, Hawaiian shirt with just our faces on it?
Why don't we have our own winery, Sam? We need more. Fair. We need more revenue.
Yeah, let's do that. Coming soon. Who would drink? Masters.
Oh boy. Now we're talking.
Can't wait. Can't wait. That's going to be a good time. All right. Well, before we get into the final numbers for the polls, do we actually have a review?
We do. We have 3 new reviews to read this week. I'm very excited about. So 3 new reviews. Sam, I believe you're going to read this first one.
Our first review comes from Koopa Troopa Like in Mario, literally their username. Hey guys, I hope I have some better matchups this time, but what about John Wick vs. Snake Eyes? The Last Ronin, TMNT, vs. Master Chief, Superman vs. One Punch Man. I feel like we've talked about that on here before, at least in a wrap-up. The Mandalorian vs. Master Chief, The Prowler vs. Batman, She-Hulk vs. She-Ra, interesting, and The Punisher versus Deadshot, which also sounds familiar. I hope y'all like my ideas this time. I put a lot of thought into them, and I hope y'all keep making more episodes and Ray keeps winning. Well, I was up. I was totally with you until that very last 3 words. Sorry.
I like that, apparently we were very harsh on his ideas the first time around.
I guess. I'm sorry.
He gave us a bunch of ideas and says,
no,
I
these are
hope
great.
y'all like my ideas this time. Uh-oh.
All ideas are good ideas. Until
She-Hulk is probably my favorite one of those.
I love that.
We've done John Wick versus Snake Eyes on the previous iteration of the show before.
All right.
So,
I'm kind of Last Ronin. I think those comments are awesome.
Yeah, Last Ronin, but versus Master Chief. I don't know about all that. Master Chief is pretty rough.
Feels big,
here's the deal. Next, for anybody who wants to review, give me RoboCop battle ideas. I've repped RoboCop on this show, I believe, 3 times and lost every single time. And he's one of my favorite characters of all time, and it still pains me. I need a RoboCop redemption match, so start suggesting those. That's what I want to see from you, the people.
I mean, do you want like a softball? You want us to just be like R2-D2, Johnny 5? What, you want an actual challenge?
No, I'll tell you, I had somebody try to argue with me once, who shall but remain nameless, that R2-D2 is actually a prime brawler for this show. And that R2-D2 was so powerful and just, you don't even know the feats that R2-D2 has done. I'm like, it threw a Bic lighter at a Jawa once. What are you even talking about?
Yeah, he unlocked a door. Hang on.
And we ended up doing a battle with R2-D2 that I insisted also had to add C-3PO because it was such a pathetic, poor battle. And then we did the battle anyways. And my character stomped 17 ways, and it wasn't even fun. And there was no argument, actually, it turns out, for that character.
Wow.
So, all right. Versus
maybe
Yeah,
if it was
wasn't
like
even
Chopper,
with Brian Griffin.
Yeah,
it was just Stewie alone.
Yeah, if it was Chopper or BT1, I would have been like, okay, you might have a ball game. But like, regular R2-D2, no, I don't think that's happening.
It's one, you know what? It's one of those conversations that led me to say, trust your gut, Ray. You know enough about enough that you know when you hear a bad idea in front of you.
Matthew Dawson in the chat says, RoboCop versus one of those chargers that you really have to bend the wire to work. Yeah, that's
those chargers are undefeated, though. I don't know if I want that smoke.
They are undefeated. Good one.
To be fair. All right. I have a long review here to read. It's called for Mr. Squirrel 2099. Thank you, Mr. Squirrel. It's crazy with these things. Remember when I said we didn't have one, but I saw that we were getting reviews, but I wasn't seeing anything new, and you caught it on a different app? All of a sudden, overnight, we got all 3 of these reviews in one day, and they were all from like the last 2 weeks. Apple Podcast is funny. So here we go. Mr. Squirrel says, it's going to be another something. It cuts off. Another great couple of episodes and another long review. Daredevil versus Killer Croc surpassed my expectations, and a mutant versus a video game character is always a solid episode. For Daredevil versus Killer Croc, the matchup is so natural that Daredevil seems like he would be a part of the Bat family. Daredevil's a lot faster than Killer Croc and is obviously smarter. However, sometimes it only takes brute force to win. Sometimes just throwing a rock at someone is enough to beat them. Despite this, like Gina said, Daredevil has been taught to think on his feet and not go brute force to brute force. But in conclusion, I think Daredevil is smarter enough to stay out of the reach of any potential rocks and throw his baton off a wall and hit Croc in the head and take him out for at least 2 minutes. Well done, both of you. I would love to see this matchup in a comic, TV show, anything of the sort, please. Now, for Bishop versus Albert Wesker, it's the Captain Marvel argument. If all the attacks just make Bishop stronger, how are you supposed to beat him? Even the one's example of Bishop losing, it requires knowing that making him too strong takes him out. Now, I don't know about you, but if I see someone getting stronger for my attacks, I'm going to stop doing that attack. Sorry, Debate Master General Ray. Oh, I get a lot of titles in this one. For future matchups, I'd love to see Null, Marvel God of Symbiotes versus Martian Manhunter. Now, that's interesting. Or maybe Dash versus The Spot. Is that Dash from The Incredibles? I like that. Hashtag yes, in the year of our Lord 2026, we're still doing hashtags. And hashtag holy moly, I am jawstruck by these crocodile puns. So thank you, Mr. Squirrel. We appreciate you as always.
Very good, Mr. Squirrel. All right, and we have one more
it's really long, Sam. Are you going to be okay with this one?
Let me prep for this here. Let's go to All right, this is from the Separatist, who says, please do Count Dooku versus Magneto. I mean, that was it. Actually.
That's it. Yeah, that was good. Interesting battle. I mean, I don't know how Magneto loses that, if I can be honest with you. If you're attacking him with something metal, I don't know if the Force is going to do it.
Yeah. I don't see a universe where there's a loss for Magneto.
In general.
He definitely has the upper hand.
Yeah.
Doesn't he also have like a helmet?
Yeah. So Magneto. I'll put it this way, just succinctly. I have seen situations where Magneto has fought people who are as powerful or more powerful than himself, and he's literally killed them with his own helmet. So
it's tough.
Ollie Lowe in the chat says Magneto would stomp that. Yeah.
That's a rough matchup. But if we're ready, we're going to announce the results of the Killer Croc versus Daredevil matchup.
All right.
Are we ready, Sam Proof?
All right. Now we're going to do the Mortalverse.
The Mortalverse poll first. These are Matthew Dawson and our friends in the Mortalverse podcast audio dramas.
This is, of course, the poll that comes out before the episode drops, before anyone even knows who's repping who. So, although in this case, whatever. Okay. From the Mortalverse poll, with 50% of the vote, that's a tie. That is a straight tie.
They tied.
Both of
coming in, it was the most
we've never seen
that
on Mortalverse.
Daredevil versus Killer Croc.
Oh. I thought they would really pick Daredevil just because he's the good guy, without knowing anything. Before the battle. Just pick the good guy.
You would kind of think in that scenario that would be the deciding factor, which I think happens quite a bit. All right,
but that is before the battle came out. We now have the real poll.
This is the one for all the marbles. With 67% of the vote, the winner is Killer Croc. Congratulations, Eric.
What?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Okay.
No way.
Right.
Unexpected.
Killer Croc with the win.
Yeah.
I believe, and this is a case now, TV's Gina Polito of the New Rockstars YouTube channel, very popular channel. I think that she came in with a flawed premise for her argument. She's one of the best debaters in this I was not really ready for her smoke when she came on this show and absolutely handed me my own behind, according to some. Yeah. And that's fine. She's very knowledgeable and I've known her for a very long time. That being said, I think, and we'll see in some of these comments, and I believe I even started talking on the show about some of the problems I was seeing when I was judging the argument. So we'll get to it. But first off, I just want to say, Eric, congratulations. You'll be moving on to round 2.
I would straight out say that beating Gina at all, you should feel like you've already won the tournament. I think that in itself is a huge feat.
Yeah, when we did the matching episode and everything like that, and I went, after it was done, I went, well, I get to be part of the tournament. At least I can say that. I kind of figured okay, well, Here we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was awesome. Especially, I mean, her Daredevil of all people, like really.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So that's
somebody
why
who literally follows Daredevil
could have been
professionally.
Buffy. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, I knew from the get go, like my only stance is I gotta say that this is the first time they meet, and they have no prior knowledge. That was I was hanging everything on that point.
I mean, I think that was really the thing that did it for you, was like the canon of like Daredevil takes the hits, those first matchups, the first meetup, and leaves bloodied and not great.
It just comes down to Killer Croc hits real hard, and Daredevil doesn't avoid all the punches.
Yeah.
And like when I was doing my research, I'm going, okay, I can't use the animated series or the Suicide Squad version just because they're Killer Croc, but they're small. Like compared to the comic book version, I'm like, the comic book version is a beast. I'm like, okay, this is the version I got to go with, and has a lot more feats and can do a lot more. And he's still a dumb kind of your dumb guy, but like she brought up a lot, like the animated series version that's really bad, or you know what I mean. So I was like, okay, I can probably work with this one at the comics.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. So Gina actually has sent me a statement to read on her behalf. So if I may take the floor.
Wow.
I see you guys dinging me for mentioning Batman the Animated Series Killer Croc too much. But if my opponent can bring up Ben Affleck's Daredevil, then I can bring up Batman the Animated Series. One of these is a national treasure, so I, all caps, will not apologize for bringing it up. If we only looked at the iterations we want and we ignore the rest, are we even Americans anymore? USA! 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 Now someone tell Ben Affleck to get me some Dunkin' Donuts.
All right.
Yeah.
Well done. That's it.
I believe she knew she was going to lose at that point.
It sounds like.
So congratulations to Eric. You will be facing, one of our two winners. Matthew Dawson won his first round matchup, and William Schmidt won his as the number 1 seed, won his first round matchup. And that means if you're counting at home, you know what the next battle for the tournament's going to be, the last one in round 1.
Yep.
We'll talk about that at the end of the episode.
Okay. Real quick, since I didn't do this when I introduced all the guests, I just want to give a quick shout out to the people in the chat, Ollie Lowe and Matthew Dawson. And you could have been one of those people if you had joined the Patreon, and that's free. You could go to patreon.com/whowouldwinmasters, join for free, and you could be watching this live behind the scenes when we record our wrap-ups.
Bjorn Turner was here too before something happened.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Bjorn. I apparently had way too much power available to me.
Yeah, we're gonna have to work that out logistically after this episode's over. I think there's too much power.
Yeah, okay.
To be fair,
didn't realize.
So we're gonna read some comments now. Sam, are you ready for some comments?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Let's go.
Although this says you're gonna start, so you do it.
I am gonna start. We're gonna go with the Snark Knight. You get to open us off today, Snark Knight. Thank you very much for joining the program. Great to see Ernie back in the mix. I'm a longtime fan of his work. Wow, how about that? Longtime fans coming over. Crossover, here we are. Ray made some great arguments for Wesker, but it's a tough draw. Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong one. Sorry.
I'm like, where
That's
are you?
That's the Wesker argument. You know what? That was a sneak preview of the middle of the show.
Yeah.
Lord Skirts.
Coming up. Good. This is where we go to an ad break or something.
We're the most professional show in the history of
Cliffhanger. Come back next week for the rest of that compelling comment.
Dude, that was what we call in the biz a teaser.
Yeah.
Or wait 5 minutes and then we'll talk about it. Or 10 minutes.
You know what? Matthew Dawson made a great point. Bishop just time traveled the show forward.
Gotcha.
Fantastic.
There it is. Lord Snurts, he says, Gina did a great job, but wasted time arguing against Killer Croc with the Batman the Animated Series version. She did lean on that. And I believe as a judge, I called that out after point number 2, right? Am I crazy?
Yeah, that sounds
Eric
about right.
clearly called out that he was repping the comic book version. He also nailed points with Daredevil taking at least one punch and the dock location, getting that on the board. I weigh the former more than the latter. Finally, the argument that this is his first encounter, which means the hero usually loses. It sets the stakes for a future victory by the hero of Hell's Kitchen. This trumps Gina's point about other Bat family members who are very similar to Daredevil, notching wins against Killer Croc. They may lose the first fight, but this also fits the Who Would Win Masters rules about a random encounter with no prior knowledge. I voted for Gina in the Mortalverse poll, but Eric won me over with his clever arguments that lined up with the rules of this fine podcast. He didn't have to say fine podcast, but he chose to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a
real
nice
fan
choice.
right there. Thank you,
Good
Sturz.
choice. Yeah. All right. Next up, we have from Nate.
Hi, Nate.
Round 1 grappling hook versus ginormous bean, point to Gina. Round 2 Kingpin versus Kingpin, point for Eric. Point 3 was a wash. They have both won and lost many fights. Ultimately, it came down to the fact that Gina didn't give a direct way in which Daredevil could hurt or, more importantly, incapacitate Killer Croc, whereas Eric made it clear that the power of one punch or bite could seriously damage Daredevil. I almost gave my vote to Gina just based on the grappling hook, but in the end, I needed a little more. There you go. Yeah.
There it is. There it is. We'll do one more here and we'll go to comments.
All right.
Lynn Stein says, nope, that's the wrong one. God, it keeps jumping
William
me backwards,
Schmidt.
folks.
It's pronounced William Schmidt.
It's William Schmidt. I'm reading William. I don't know what is happening with this document. William Schmidt says, Eric did his homework for this one, and he presented enough to convince me Killer Croc could win this first encounter. The biggest difference between the Kingpin and Killer Croc is Killer Croc's natural armor. Daredevil would have a very hard time inflicting damage on Killer Croc in a first encounter. Croc's natural armor is classified as quote-unquote bulletproof, so I would say it would neutralize all but Daredevil's most precise and powerful strikes. Another issue for Daredevil is that Croc's claws and tail would introduce combat issues that he is not used to. I would have to assume that he would get hit a few times during the encounter, worse if the battle goes into the water. So overall, I see this random first encounter going poorly for Matt, who would have to flee after sustaining some serious damage. I see the comic book arc having him learn more about crocodiles and their weaknesses, and then finding a way to defeat Croc in the second or third encounter.
I love that we cut to a montage of like Daredevil at the library, like, oh, their teeth are very big. Like, just
that's a big bite force.
Look at that. What's on the Wikipedia?
That's right. I mean, look at this guy. He's crazy.
There he is.
He's a mean-looking guy.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's another scary thing about Killer Croc is that it always is which Killer Croc shows up because he mutates a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he can go from being like a big dude with scales to a literal humanoid crocodile. So it's like it's a tough matchup. It's a very tough matchup. And I say that as the president and treasurer of the Hornhead fan club.
Nice. There it is.
And that's why I went more with the comic book version, just because for the most part, the comics kind of stay with that one version. But yeah, he's totally different than, like she said, the animated series or in the Suicide Squad version.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah, and this is my biggest problem. And she called it out herself. Like, I don't think she's happy about it. But the fact that she seemed to place her entire argument against the Batman, the animated series version of Killer Croc, and you kept coming back saying, no, it's the comic book, and doing comic book stuff. And then she would go back to her next point and attack the Batman animated series version more, which is her favorite version. I mean, we're all huge fans of the animated series, but her,
still cool.
She studies it.
Sure.
So, I mean, I understood the inclination to do that, but like, I think that ultimately she was attacking a straw man at that point, and our audience did not respond to it like she would have wanted them to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I also, her giving up and conceding that it could take place on the dock was a bad.
Yeah, you know what?
move.
Yeah, it's home field
We've seen
advantage.
If one person sets the battlefield and the other person doesn't push back on it at all, the person who does this is a new move in Who Would Win Masters, is setting the battlefield and then seeing what your opponent does with that. And if they don't push back, then you kind of de facto get it in the eyes of the listeners or the ears. So that's a very interesting strategy, and Eric made it work.
Yeah.
I mean, because like you said, I didn't want to go like 100% in a city or something. Like, okay, now we're in trouble.
Sure.
But I also know that this wasn't going to, I mean, I'd be crazy to think, oh yeah, we're going to fight underwater. Like, that's not going to happen. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, this could work. And she kind of set it up like that. I'm like, ooh, this is what I was hoping for. I'm just going to keep going with it.
Yeah. But if you are in a city, was Gina, you're always close to a sewer.
Yeah, you suggested the docks. I counter with, what if we just do it in a hallway? And then it's over. Daredevil wins outright.
Maybe.
So, all right, we got a few more to read here. Here we go.
John Shanks. I got it. John Shanks says, as Ray said, Gina definitely had the first round, despite continually referring to the wrong version of Croc, as we've said. But Eric took round 2. Whilst this is the first encounter, I think both have faced similar opponents before, with Kingpin and Nightwing being the best examples, although I think Gina missed a trick by not bringing up some of Spider-Man's villains that Daredevil has defeated in comics, like the Lizard and Rhino. It's a good point.
Yeah,
however, Gina's final point about Daredevil's ability takes it over Croc's animalistic rage attack. Oh, adaptability. Thank you. Takes it over Croc's animalistic rage attack with precision attacks and strategy over brute force.
So give it to Daredevil anyway.
So that is
I've got a nice one here. Okay. Cam Sully, always bringing the positive vibes. His quote is, #Gina always loses. I don't know what his issue
not accurate,
is.
Apparently.
No. I don't know, because she tends to win. So that is a strange comment. She did not win.
Like you said, I mean, this was a big win for me. I mean, this is
for sure
right up there with beating Ray. So I mean, like I'm not gonna lie, I was surprised when I saw the results. I was like, "Oh, no way!"
Well, to be fair, Eric, you're on the show for a reason.
I mean, I guess that is true. Everyone who's in the tournament, got there by earning that spot.
That's right. There are 7 people who deeply earned their spot to be in that tournament, and Delvin Cox was there too.
That's true.
Wow. But this battle, this poll, was very back and forth. It was 50-50 for a little while on the actual Patreon poll for a few days. And it was just in the last few days that, Croc took it. So, this was a very close one. Okay. The Snark Knight.
The real
you didn't
one
want to read this one as well. Okay. Said, this close battle was entertaining and tough to judge. I felt like Gina came out strong and finished that way, while Eric won the middle. In the end, I went with Gina's argument. I felt like she effectively used Fisk as an example of Daredevil beating a similar but much smarter and more cunning opponent, and pointed out examples of Croc losing to opponents with similar and lesser skill sets as Daredevil. She also effectively countered with Eric's main point about Croc's strength and ferocity with Daredevil's ability and durability. Eric's case was solid, but I give the slightest edge to Gina and Daredevil. All right.
There you go. Well, Forbidden Mob joined us, and he says, what a fun episode. I was convinced the Devil of Hell's Kitchen would make handbags out of Croc going into this. But fairly quickly, Eric demonstrated a clear path to victory through durability and sheer power, because Eric listens to the show and he knows what works. Daredevil is faster, more agile, smarter, and has the better senses. But eventually, Croc is going to land a hit or two, and it's going to be bad. Gina's prep time point was a waste of time since it's against the rules. This hurt Gina's case, unfortunately. Eric used his counterpoints to bury this idea. Gina mentioned Daredevil's fighting ability, background, and durability, but Croc is over 600 pounds, 7 feet tall, and is a wrestler himself. He wins this point. Croc fights on instinct, like Eric said. He doesn't need to be smarter. He needs to be deadlier, which was shown here today. Awesome and fun episode. I enjoyed the back and forth. Don't forget to subscribe to Patreon for more premium content. It's free. Now that's why Forbidden Mob is my favorite listener. I'm going to say
There
right
you
now.
go. Commercial right there.
Right?
Yeah,
That's an
I'm not
ad
gonna
read
lie.
right there,
Yeah,
man. I like
Everyone,
Look at that.
every single person could take a lesson from Forbidden Mob. He does great here.
Yeah. All right. Should I read one more before we
Absolutely.
Get
One
into
more,
these?
and we'll open it back to us again.
All right. Guardian says, such a good matchup. Gina was great. Love new rock stars. But I think Croc takes this random encounter. I heard a lot about Croc being a dumbed down version of Kingpin, but there's a reason Goku's final form is Ultra Instinct. Croc doesn't need to outthink Daredevil, just overwhelm him with vicious attacks and his overwhelming odor. Letting the match take place by the docks tips this brawl to a hunting zone, and I definitely feel that while Daredevil gets away, he's going to need a visit to his favorite night nurse before facing off against this reptile again.
Mhm.
Yeah, fair. No, I think that Gina's best point of the entire episode was comparing Killer Croc to Kingpin. Because Kingpin is also large, knows how to fight. He has the suit, which makes him bulletproof. I think overall it was a really, really well laid point by Gina that really hit with me really hard. But there were just too many missed opportunities, I think. But Eric, what do you think?
Yeah, I actually had in there, I brought up Kingpin because I'm like, okay, who has Daredevil fought? And he does beat Kingpin, but Kingpin also beats him. And we saw that in the show, and we saw that. I mean, so that one was kind of almost a wash, but it was also like you said, he's a big guy, and I was trying to show that, and I think her side kind of hit a little bit more with her side than my side, but Kingpin was something I was thinking about too. I'm like, okay, he's the only one that I can think of off the top of my head that's a big guy that could. I mean, he's not the same as Killer Croc, but he's still a strong being.
100%. Ernie, now I don't know that I'm assuming you haven't checked this episode out, but do you have any natural thoughts as to this battle? As to where would you take it if you were arguing either side?
I mean, honestly, I kind of agree with how the fans saw it. That Daredevil would probably not win an initial encounter.
Yeah.
And I've read a metric crap ton of Daredevil comics in my day, and that is kind of par for the course when he faces new villains. Not all the time, but but specifically with very particularly deadly threats, he usually doesn't beat them right away, and he does even when he's skilled and knowledged against an opponent, he still takes his lumps. Just like anybody else, but Killer Croc is a pretty deadly foe, and I think probably, and maybe this was the case, maybe it wasn't, but I feel like maybe I feel like there was a misperception of how Killer Croc works. In terms of maybe what Gina was looking at, not even just the going to the Batman animated series stuff, but just in general, because Killer Croc, a lot of people think that he's just dumb, and he actually isn't. He's a lot smarter than people think he is. He's no super genius or nothing like that, sure. But I mean, he is a smarter guy than people want to give him credit for. But the thing is, even if you look at his lack of intelligence compared to somebody that's more of a battlefield tactician like Daredevil, you also have to take into consideration that he is feral a lot of the times when he is fighting, and even Batman has difficulty subduing Killer Croc. So you also have to take into consideration that Killer Croc is way stronger than most people Daredevil faces. Killer Croc would be more of a more fair, I would say a more fair matchup for Spider-Man in terms of raw power than would be for Daredevil. Because that's the thing, Daredevil's a regular dude. He has the radar sense and everything, and he is faster and stronger than most people just because he's trained his body that to that level. But at the end of the day, this dude's going to be like probably the most realistic thing about that Ben Affleck movie was laying in the coffin full of Epsom salt. And closing on himself. He'd probably have to sit in that thing for a week after a fight with Killer Croc. And like I said, that's as a guy who loves Daredevil.
All right, that's fair.
Yeah.
We'll tell you what, we got a few more of these comments to read, and that's going to be all of them. So I'm going to what you just said, Ernie, I've got Lynn Stein right here who says, I think Daredevil takes this one. He's basically blind Batman as it is with the martial arts prowess. I think the water is a strong argument for Croc if Daredevil gets knocked into it, but I don't see how Croc swimming on his own helps too much when Daredevil can hear him getting out and has the reflexes to keep up. Heroes almost always win, and they do this time too. Oh, and the P.S. Suck it, Ernie Carothers. That's very inappropriate.
So
you
how
didn't even
did
know
they
he was
even
going to be on the
know?
show.
That's so weird.
That's crazy that Ben would write that, but here it is. You know.
That is very sexually charged, but I'll accept it.
That is how we
got
roll,
a couple. We got a couple big ones to end it up here. So let's quote unquote bang through it.
I like how this one from Matthew Dawson starts with, "Don't use this in the wrap up, as I'll type a more concise version for the Patreon." And then Ray has used this one to give me.
He didn't do it. Spoiler alert. He did not do that. So here you go.
So
Enjoy.
I'm just going to read every seventh word and see if that works.
Perfect.
All right. It says, I'm listening to the episode for a second time because, like any good voter, I like to be well informed. And there's a lot of weird sticking points on either side that's throwing me for a loop. First of all, shout out to MCU Daredevil for being the first character to be repped twice on Who Would Win Masters. It wasn't stated explicitly, but I don't think Gina listed a single comic feat that wasn't in the show. So interesting choice to make an undeniably weaker version of the character. Gina spent a lot of time in her main points talking Croc down instead of building Matt up, which I found super interesting. I have some problems with Croc here, namely the version used because it was never clear. Gina focused a lot on the BTAS version of Croc, while Eric said he was using the Arkham video game version, which would be great if he hadn't spent all of his points listing comic feats, beating Aquaman, King Shark, etc. It seemed like Eric was really cherry-picking the strengths of some versions of Croc while avoiding the weaknesses of others, which brings me to my next point. It may be a hot take, but I think this show really needs to go back to clarifying the versions being used at the top of the episode. It kind of screwed Jay Sandlin over in his tournament episode, and as I mentioned on my wrap-up show, it could have screwed me over as well if Delvin, would have chose the Legends version of Chewbacca, which he technically could have.
We wouldn't have let him.
I'm still not 100% sure which version of either character was used here, and that bothers me as a nerd who likes to fact-check things. And the battlefield playing a big part in this fight was fun as well, and at Sam Proof was on his pun-making A-game. I still haven't decided who I'll vote for, but I'll keep debating with myself until I figure it out. And that podcast of Matthew debating with himself is available. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
The only thing,
I actually have the cover photo of that podcast. I'm going to put it on the video here.
Okay.
There it is.
Well, all right.
There
And
it
if you
is.
had joined us behind the scenes on the being a member of the Patreon, you would have seen that. Sorry, there will be no supercut of that there.
There will be no supercut of that. Anyway, I got one more to read here. It's Ollie Lowe.
All right.
And Ollie Lowe likes to talk. He's in
All
our
right,
chat
I'll be
right now,
back.
and I'm going to read the whole thing, Ollie. Going to read the whole thing. I enjoyed this battle. So a few thoughts, and I will try to keep it at a few. Sure you will. I think Eric won, and here's why. It sounded like Gina needed to brush up on the rules, since in the first point, there was a brief moment when she made it sound like this would be a battle of Daredevil and his amazing friends versus Killer Croc. And more than a few references to getting there early and setting traps, not even slightly in the rules. The who they've beaten and the who they've lost against argument usually feels like it becomes meaningless when it comes to Marvel and DC because, and I'll be fair to Gina for bringing the point up, they've all beaten or lost to each other at some point. That said, saying that Croc managed to go toe-to-toe with both Aquaman, King Shark, and General Zod, it's a pretty impressive feat. I do appreciate Batman has several wins over Croc, but he also has a lot of prior knowledge and countermeasures, which Daredevil is not going to have at this point. Also, I believe it's canonically on record, as canon as crossovers can be anyway, that Daredevil does not hit as hard as Batman. The versions of the character were a little unclear, Gina making references to BTAS, while Eric clearly had a point about using the comics version. I know he mentioned Arkham Asylum, but I figured that was just for a reference point about the size and scale of Croc compared to a normal human. But I think it undermines some of Gina's argument. But big kudos to Eric for having the balls to mention the Ben Affleck Daredevil movie as part of his point. Bigger kudos to Gina for limiting herself to the MCU Daredevil rather than the comic book one, even if it did ultimately perhaps not turn out to be the best decision for feats. Eric made a great point about Croc overwhelming Daredevil's senses, and I don't think Gina's point about him not knowing to do it was a strong one, since I doubt Croc is going to think, oh, what can I do to smell worse under any circumstance? I mean, I could absolutely see the roaring and the smell putting Daredevil off his game. When I thought about this battle, this was one of the first thoughts I had. I'm not buying the quote-unquote he beat Wilson Fisk so he could beat Killer Croc argument, given that Croc is bigger, armored, and possessed of both teeth and claw. Wilson Fisk isn't going to try to bite Daredevil's head off. I lost my place. The point was made absolutely that Daredevil does get hurt a lot. I think if Croc hits him once, it's going to hurt. If Croc hits him once, he can absolutely hit him again, too. I think the thing that hurts Gina's argument was that there wasn't a clear path to victory that she laid out for Daredevil, other than, of course, he'll beat Croc. Let's get this straight. I absolutely 100% believe that Daredevil could find a way to win the second encounter 9 times out of 10 with some prior knowledge and a little bit of prep time. But I could see him limping away from this first encounter, bloodied and bruised at the very least, severely injured at the most, living to fight another day. Unfortunately, that's a loss in this battle. P.S. Axe body spray is known as Lynx in the UK, which is a way cooler name, although I'm not sure who wants to smell like a jungle cat.
High school boys.
100%. Eric, can you tell us about that? How prevalent is Axe body spray among Gen Z?
Yes. A lot.
Thank you.
Especially around homecoming.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I know they talked about like, I think Ali got what my main point was, is that, yeah, I wanted the comic book version. The only reason why I brought up the Arkham Asylum is because I want people to get a good visual if they haven't read the comics. I was like, that's a pretty close version of it. It's not exactly, but it's a lot closer than the animated series and the Suicide Squad version. So I'm like, I got to bring that up just so that way people have a vision in their mind how big this guy actually is. But yeah, the comic book version, I tried to make it clear that I was using. I guess maybe I wasn't, but yeah, that's the only reason why I brought the Arkham Asylum picture.
Yeah, Matthew Dawson got bamboozled by that, and he's admitting it now. And that's fair. You might be meeting Matthew Dawson in the second round for all we know. It's a random matchup, so I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know how it's gonna play out just yet. We'll see. I do want to tack on this other message from Ollie that was in the chat that we didn't actually read out. That says, if Batman with prep time and prior knowledge struggles with Croc, Daredevil with none of that definitely struggles.
I think that's a fair point.
That's a fair point.
It's you know what? You love your heroes, but they tend to lose round one. I've been taking advantage of that argument for about a decade now.
Yeah. And I had to use it.
That's fair. We'll tell you what, everybody, that is going to put to bed the Killer Croc versus Daredevil match. Eric, any last words for the people at home before we go to break?
Just thanks for listening to the whole thing and all the facts and everything, and not going with, oh, he's a good guy and Killer Croc's a bad guy, so he's going to lose. And a lot of people made the point, and I agree with you 100%. If he wins the first one, and then the next 99 he probably loses because Daredevil's going to figure something out, and that's what he's going to use and go from there.
100%.
So I 100% agree with that. And what Ernie said before, like, I was trying to go with Killer Croc with, I didn't brain up as much and I should have. That being as dumb, because, like, I kind of think of him as kind of like Bane, whereas, like, Batman Forever Bane, he's a real big idiot. Like, he's just, oh, man. And then in the next movie we see him in, he's, like, the smartest guy on the planet, basically, for some reason. And they've kind of done that in the comics and everything. Like, all of a sudden, Bane's a super smart guy and he's super strong. So I guess I was going to try to go more that way. And I was kind of thinking Killer Croc like that. Yeah. I'm not saying he's going to find a cure for cancer anytime soon, but he's also not like that big idiot like we saw Bane in Batman Forever or whatever. Just like has no sense or nothing. Like, he still comes up. He has his own storylines. He has his own plans. Yes, he gets used by other people a lot, but he still is his own. He works well in the group, but he's also his own person too.
There you go. Well, I'll say officially for all the Who Would Win Masters fans, Eric, welcome to round 2 of the summer tournament.
Woohoo!
You made it.
Congratulations.
We're going to take a break right now and come back for some hot Bishop versus Wesker action.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
All right, welcome back. We are going to go straight into revealing the poll results for Bishop versus Wesker. Just a quick reminder, time traveler versus successful virologist. And we'll see how that plays out. The first to poll, of course, is the Mortalverse audio drama poll. So with no prior knowledge, no listening of the episode, nobody knows who repped who. The Mortalverse poll, with 80% of the vote, you have voted for Albert Wesker.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
Whoa.
All right. Now, the official poll, the Patreon poll that you can all vote, not for this one, but for future polls over at patreon.com/whowodwinmasters.
And we remember Sam Proof voted for Ernie in this battle. He did. So Ernie got a victory with Sam. Do the people agree?
With 60% of the vote, Albert Wesker takes this.
What? Okay.
Unbelievable.
Shocking and appalling.
You
You
know
people
what?
won't sit down.
Let
Everyone,
a big
please.
squid nerd win this.
Oh my goodness. They won't. Please, everyone, stop. Stop.
Oh, wait, I think I can stop that, can't I? Can I stop it if Ray starts it?
I don't know what you're talking about, Sam. These are real people who are really here, and they're very excited about that result, and they won't stop applauding.
It's crazy.
And now they're just wandering out into the lobby. Like they're like, oh, now I got to get popcorn.
Let's go out to the kitchen. Oh, wait, that's a different thing entirely.
Right, Ernie.
Yes.
It was closer in the official poll than it was in the Mortalverse poll. How you feeling right now?
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that I didn't plead my case as good as I probably could have. But I do think that I will say I think that there is some Resident Evil bias out there. I think people think Wesker is way more powerful than I think they actually realize that he is, because once again, regular man beat him. But but I will definitely say that I had fun with it. I had a lot of fun with it. The idea of a type of combat situation that a fight between these two types of characters would have is pretty interesting to me, just because they're not common. They're not particularly common. But the idea of a guy, like, in a lot of ways, to me, a guy, I say it's not common. I say that mostly just because, you have a character that is, pretty powerful in a video game setting, but I feel like would be pretty relatively normal in a comic book setting. But like, Wesker actually fits pretty nice and neatly into as a Marvel universe style villain, just by the nature of how the Resident Evil villains usually kind of pan out. They're usually, I could easily see Wesker being like a Spider-Man villain, or even an X-Men villain in some cases. But heck, he could even be a Captain America villain, for all we know. But I do think that is a pretty interesting matchup, just because they do kind of counterbalance each other in some ways, but I do think they complement each other in some pretty interesting ways as well. But I will say I'm definitely a little disappointed. But it being as close as it was, I'll take solace in that I was able to bring them down from that overwhelming 80% down to 60.
That's right. You pulled 20% back to you. I think, Ernie, ask your audience what they think, and then then obviously we'll have the real answer.
Yeah.
Ollie Lowe in the chat said, I said this on the Discord yesterday, Wesker would fit into the Marvel Universe, which I don't know. Do we have that comment coming up, Ray? Do you know, or not so much?
I mean, we'll find out when we finish, because he's got the final comment once again, and wouldn't you know it, I'm tagged to read it.
Great. Well, that doesn't sound like it's from the Discord, because this is a short one. I can see it. That's from the Patreon for sure. All right. Well, this says you're going to start it off, so.
Oh, I guess I should then. Hey, remember when I said the Snark Knight had a comment?
Hey, oh, look, it's like we've traveled.
He says, great to see Ernie back in the mix. I'm a longtime fan of his work. It's getting some deja vu.
Nice.
Ray made some great arguments for Wesker, but it's a tough draw when a character that relies heavily on physical attacks has to face someone who can absorb kinetic energy and use it to scale up. I did feel like Ernie could have dug a little deeper on his feats for Bishop, but his main point about the energy absorption was enough to get him the dub.
All right. Guardian.
I accept that.
Yeah. Guardian says, Ray gets my vote with Wesker, while the X-Men do tend to fight a higher level of enemy than Wesker does. It sounds like Wesker is much faster, at least as strong, and has enough tricks to keep Bishop on guard. The only real attack that was brought up that Bishop could use to deal serious damage to Wesker is if he was able to use the force damage of a major beatdown back on Wesker. But he's just as likely to get knocked out if he's just tanked super speed / super strength attacks to get there. All right.
It's a fair point. I got one here from Lynn Stein, who says, Ray wins this one with Wesker. Out of his mutated form, Wesker is just too fast, too strong, and too durable. I think the Ouroboros form actually hurts him in this battle. I agree with you. And it just makes him a bigger, slower target, but I don't see him needing to use it anyway. If Bishop can't shoot him or hit him, let's face it, Wesker's very, very fast. That some of those boss fights are interminable.
That's fair. We got a couple of these are real short, so maybe we'll just read a few
Well,
more.
here's the deal. Eric Heiting has the next comment.
He's
Eric,
literally
you read
here.
Your own comment? I put it in chat.
Wait, what? Oh, maybe I should be here.
Do you see the studio chat? I put it in there for you.
Oh,
you have to go out of the public chat.
Oh,
and then
okay,
into
sorry.
the studio chat.
All right, here's what I wrote down. I voted for Ray. Sorry, Ernie. That is really hard for me to say too. I just put that in there. Bishop is strong and
now we just have to sit through this podcast in silence together. Like, awkward. All right, go on, Eric.
Sorry, no, it's fine. Bishop is strong and kicks butt in the mutant world, but his biggest advantage, the absorbing thing, doesn't have too much of an effect in this battle. Wesker has too much raw power with the virus and what he can do.
There you go.
So that was what I was
Ernie,
thinking when I heard it.
What you're hearing so far? This is a rare time when you can yell at a commenter to his face.
Well, I guess you know what I guess my assumption was that I wouldn't have to explain the minutia of how Bishop's power works. And maybe I should have, because I think a lot of people misunderstood what I said, that when people thought that, oh, he has to, get his ass kicked to become more powerful. I think the thing that people might have misunderstood is that he doesn't have to sit there and, get his ass kicked to become more powerful.
He doesn't have to take damage.
No, he doesn't have to. Matter of fact, because of the fact, and this is something that I wish I would have leaned a little bit more on, he does, I think some people might be working off of old information. Bishop does have the ability to absorb strikes, and it basically makes him invulnerable to, blunt force attacks. And any, strikes. And I kind of just assume that if I said he can absorb attacks, people would have just been like, "Oh, okay." They'll just assume. I assumed they would understand what I was saying, but I mean, the thing is, when someone fights Bishop hand to hand, let's say for argument's sake that we're taking the Ouroboros out of it. Even if Wesker struck him, he would absorb the energy, and it wouldn't actually hurt him. He's actually resistant to attacks that he absorbs. He's kind of like Captain Marvel in that way, that the more you swing at them, the worse it is. And I probably should have, I should have just taken the time to go into the minutia of that. But yeah, and also I will say, I think people misunderstand that there's a difference between Chris Redfield trying to shoot Wesker and Bishop trying to shoot
Fair
Wesker.
Point. It's a very fair
because Chris is a regular, I think people forget. Chris
is not a regular guy. I will push back on that all day long, sir.
Okay, I'll put it like this. He is not a mutant, and he does not have the same, while he is definitely trained, he is not trained to fight the same things that, Bishop is trained to fight people who are as powerful or more powerful than himself on a level that, for as much as Chris has his training, it's not the same thing. This is still it's still a night and day difference. And I think, and once again, I think maybe it's because of less exposure that maybe this is the case. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like maybe this is what I would say, dude. This is what I would say for anybody who still doubts me. And this is a shameless plug. I have a video where I completely break down Bishop. Come back and tell me what you think after hearing, and I'm not talking about old information. I'm talking about current information about Bishop, not stuff that was from the 1990s or the early aughts. I'm talking about what Bishop can do today, and how much he has evolved and changed from when he initially was introduced in the 90s to where he is at now. I think sometimes, and I encounter this a lot when I talk to people about X-Men related stuff, a lot of people operate on information that is usually either A, from movies, or B, from TV shows, not always from comics. And while that is good stuff, a lot of times you're 99.9999999% of the time, when you're talking about a movie or TV show version of a character versus the comic book version of a character, and I think we even kind of talked about this a lot during the Killer Croc Daredevil segment, characters are usually nerfed in those other mediums. Bishop is even to the point, if you make the argument that Bishop can be overloaded, the thing is, Wesker doesn't have any attack that can overload Bishop on the times that Bishop has been overloaded, it was an energy-based attack that overloaded him, not physical attacks.
That's
matter of fact,
interesting.
he has no upper limit. Bishop has no upper limit on the amount of times he's been hit before he is overloaded. The only times he's ever, we're talking Cyclops unloading an unchecked optic blast on him sustained. That has overloaded him before. And his sister Shard has overloaded him before, but she is an energy-based attacker. Someone just swinging on him doesn't do anything. Actually, it makes him, because that's the other part of it. He can take that energy, he can buff his own strength. So he could be just as fast as Wesker or just as strong as Wesker. But once again, I feel like I didn't do a good, I will definitely take the heat that I don't feel I used my time wisely. I just assumed that maybe I could speak in shorthand and that would get the point across, but I will definitely not do that next time. I will be
Fair enough.
I will be so granular, it will be painful.
So what I hear
and
you
I will
saying,
make
Ernie,
sure.
what I hear you saying is my arguments were so strong it just threw you completely off your game.
Yeah, I guess it did. You know what? I'm going to go back into the chamber. I'm going to train and come back with newfound resolve.
I love that. I love that.
When I made my comment, like you said, I kind of thought of, like, I'm thinking Bishop, like X-Men 97 Bishop is kicking butt. Like, I love that show and I love him in that show, but I'm thinking, okay, he's got to get hit by something, or even, not real spoiler, but in the last one, Storm hits him with stuff. And, like, that's how he did it. I'm thinking, okay, this guy, like, if you come up and just hit him, okay, you got a little bit of power. That's not going to be enough to Bishop to blast another big thing against him. If a guy just, like, if I will come or one of us claim and just punch them, like, he's not going to get enough energy from that. If, like you said, the show, and he's probably nerfed, but the show shows him like, wow, I got hit really hard. Now I can do this thing. You know what I mean? So, I'll take that. Yeah.
Yeah. It also, and I think that's the other thing, maybe I didn't communicate it as well either, was that if someone who is superhumanly strong punches him, he's not absorbing the same energy from that as he would like a regular person punching. Like if someone that's as strong as Wesker punches him, he's going to absorb equal energy from that, like equal to the force of what he has received. Yeah. So that's kind of one of those situations too, where it's like, I feel like, like once again, I feel like it's one of those things where, I definitely take a lot of the onus on that one, but I do also think people just really give Wesker way too much credit from a video game standpoint, because, like, once again, he is not fighting other, like, people as powerful as himself. So, like, when you're in a survival horror situation, the idea is to be weaker than the things you're fighting. So, like, it amplifies what Wesker's capable of. But, like, the thing is, if Wesker's fighting, like, any other superpowered person in, like, a comic, especially the Marvel universe, he's not special. Like, Wesker is just Wednesday. Yep. Like, he is just, he's any given new comic book day levels. I'll put it like this. If Wesker walked up to the front lawn of the Xavier Institute, Wesker would not return. You would never see or hear from him again. I'm just being honest with you. Sure. And I would even go as far as say, if Wesker went to Bishop's timeline, you would never see or hear from him again. Like, there are, like that's what I was saying. Like, Bishop has faced more powerful people than Wesker. And I think, once again, I think that, there was a little bit of a bias with people kind of like putting themselves in the shoes of the characters that they played going against him versus putting themselves in the shoes of someone who sees like Wesker all the time.
I mean, that's a fair point. I will only just say, like, when I did my deep dive on Bishop, I didn't see some of maybe the very, very recent stuff that came out. I was dealing mainly with historical Bishop. And one of the big ways that I noticed him losing was just blunt force attacks over and over again.
That has changed.
Primarily energy-based absorption. So that's what I based most of my argument on, is that this is a guy who could take any energy blast off the planet, but if you start hitting him really fast and really hard, he can go down, because that's what's happened in comics so many times. And that worked as far as the audience goes. But as you're saying, and these are comics I apparently need to check out, is that they've sort of like made that not the case anymore.
Well, yeah, so that was how he originally was back in the 90s. But as he has evolved as a character, that's been less and less the case. Like, his Bishop's power today, like, some people might be familiar with the character Sebastian Shaw of the Hellfire Club. his power, and this is why, and I kind of, admittedly, I did base some of my ideas around Sebastian Shaw because their powers work exactly the same these days. I remember reading comics where Sebastian Shaw would get up in the morning and just let people beat the shit out of him. So that way he'd always have a reserve of power, like just on hand. So that's why I was thinking like, oh yeah, if he's fighting this guy and this guy's like literally swinging at him, hitting him, whatever, punching him or kicking him or even slapping him with those tentacles, I was like, yeah, that's pretty much probably the way it's going to go, is that it's going to make him more powerful. Like his strength will increase, his speed, his stamina, his durability. He's already resistant to the things that he absorbs anyway. So that's one of those things that kind of adds a layer of invulnerability. But yeah, that's one of the things, and it's a common thing I deal with. Once again, when I talk to people in these types of conversations, is usually there'll be people that they'll know the thing, but they don't know the recent thing. They'll know like the older thing, and then when it's like, okay, well, here, have you read this? Have you read this? Have you read that? And it'll be like, okay, now your mind can go forward with with new information. But once again, I do highly recommend anyone who is on the fence about what I'm saying, watch my video about Bishop that I put out like a couple of years ago. And I get granular on that. And I think a lot of people will probably walk away with a different opinion of the character.
I think it's time to refeature that video so everybody can go to your channel and find it right away. That's my vote.
Yeah,
I
didn't
think
vote
it's
gonna have to be a
Ernie
thing.
before. I changed my vote to Bishop now.
Oh, there it is. There it is. We got a few more of these to read. Sam, why don't you start us off here and we'll read the last few and we'll call it good.
Lord Snurts says, this is hard for me to read. Time cop, time cop, time cop. Oof.
Listen, that's the trifecta of greatest time travel movies of all time. Let's keep it real.
I don't know about
and
that.
A comic book movie.
And a comic book movie. I did not even realize that. How about that?
It's based on a comic.
I mean, everything's based on a comic at this point, right? That's what
nowadays,
next. There are random movies that just come out, and then it'll just be like, "Oh, this is based on a comic book from 1993," and it'll be like, I can't even come up with a recent example, but I was looking at some movies that I was sort of interested in. Maybe it was Lucy with Scarlett Johansson. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
Oh yeah.
Because all of a sudden they're like, oh, it's based on a comic book from like 1987. I'm like, what are we even doing anymore? This is crazy.
It's like the day when I saw Road to Perdition the first time, and I was talking to somebody outside the theater. They were like, yeah, it's based on a comic. And I was like, word? Crazy.
What is happening? That's what. Anyway, Lord Moxford or Dr. Moxford, PhD, says these are pretty evenly matched characters. Wesker's final form leaves everything on the table. Bishop's powers will absorb the physical and lava hits, turning them back on Wesker, giving Bishop the win, I think. There you go.
All right.
That's somebody who knows his research.
I like that. I like that one. Yeah. I like that one.
Well, there you go. There you go.
Better than mine.
I mean, but it was a fair one. It was a fair one. It was a very fair one.
Wes Holt says, Wesker all the way. Can see him speed blitzing him. The energy absorption might cause a wrinkle, but Wesker takes it.
See, Wes Holt, you got a good head on your shoulders right there.
Right.
All right, I got Ollie Lowe to bring us home again, and he's in chat. So, Ollie, tell me if I get any of this wrong. Buckle in, folks. Get a water. This was indeed an interesting battle. Resident Evil is in my top 3 gaming franchises of all time. Me too. And I love Wesker as a character, and I'm also pretty indifferent about Bishop. I'm aware every X-Man is someone's favorite, though, so my opinion in that is completely irrelevant. Fair. I think the guns are a bit of a wash. Wesker can dodge bullets, and I don't think Bishop's going to be worried about the samurai edge. Let's get to the tyrant in the room. Ernie made a point about Wesker losing to Chris, a normal guy. And as Ray countered, anyone who punches boulders ain't normal. There is a theory in Resident Evil lore that anyone who survived Raccoon City picked up some minor viral enhancements, such as Chris being able to punch boulders and not shatter his hand, or Leon getting increased agility. Interesting take. It's interesting to note that the only time Chris fought Wesker solo, he got beat badly and had to battlefield remove himself at the end of Code Veronica. Every other time, he had a partner to help him. Jill in Lost in Nightmares, Sheva in Resident Evil 5. So I don't think Ernie's point was necessarily as strong as he thought it was. Take that, Ernie.
I think that enhanced my point.
Yeah, wow. Don't worry about that.
I feel like that enhances my point, actually.
Looking at Wesker's character, yes, he does have an ego, but I think a lot of the problems he had with Chris were because he let his hatred overcome his better judgment. I had a whole point about that, and I ran out of time and didn't really find a good place for it. I think Wesker let people live. Did I say this on the show? Because he's trying to impress them. And so he often let characters survive that he wouldn't normally need to because he wanted them to think he was cool. And that wouldn't be the case with Bishop. Anyway, it's a theory I have. Anyway, I don't think he's going to have that issue with Bishop. Thank you. He doesn't know Bishop. He probably isn't going to care about Bishop until the energy absorption comes into play. And then I think the internet becomes peaked, or the interest becomes peaked, because Wesker's going to work out something is going on. As Ray pointed out, he's not stupid, far from it. So I could see him wanting to study Bishop. It's just a case of if he wants to study him alive or dead. Wow. Ray played up Wesker's combat ability, and he made a point I think could be decisive in how Wesker likes to pick people up by the throat. If he punches them a bunch of times to little effect, I can see him thinking of other ways. Marvel lore states that a good way to beat energy absorption guys is to choke them out. I'm pretty sure I saw Nightcrawler do that to Sebastian Shaw a while ago. Wesker's ability to use an environment also came up, shooting out a chandelier to incapacitate Lisa Trevor, who was also pretty much unkillable via conventional means. I think he also played up the durability quite well, and that's going to be important. The problem I have with announcing an easy Wesker victory is that he has a similar problem to someone like Homelander, except Wesker's maybe more sympathetic of the two characters, not by much. He's the peak in his universe, and in theory, nobody should be able to touch him. Whereas Bishop has to punch up quite often. That said, speed kills, and Wesker has plenty of it. I think he has more than enough to put the hurt on Bishop. I always remember Kevin Bacon, somehow, in X-Men First Class, how he gave the impression he was pretty much invulnerable from any sort of energy attack until he wasn't when Magneto shoved that coin through his skull. Spoilers for a 14-year-old movie. And that's a scarier thought than anything Wesker or Bishop can cook up in this battle. And if Bishop had the ability to completely negate any damage from being hit, I thought Ernie would have mentioned it. The Ouroboros form,
did, but
yeah,
I just didn't hammer on it.
Wasn't hammered on, yeah. I was like, okay. The Ouroboros form, I don't even think needs to come out. I intentionally went away from that form because I think it's a weaker form. I think the speed trade-off for extra strength and existence, extra strength and durability is a cost. I mean, I don't even think it would come into play anyway. The only reason that came into existence was because he punched his hand through a missile containing the virus and then absorbed it in. It isn't something he could change into at will, at least that we know of. I don't think Ernie laid out a clear path to victory for Bishop, so I've got to give it to Wesker. I think he's more than capable of beating Bishop into unconsciousness, and on the off chance Bishop explodes, I think Wesker has the speed to get out of ground zero. Sorry, Ernie, but hopefully you come back for round 3 of Marvel versus Capcom. Yeah, well, Mystique versus Regina from Dino Crisis? ? Now, that's interesting. And that's the end of the comment. I need some water. Someone else talk.
I'll say that volume of that book will be out at Barnes & Nobles tomorrow.
You get 2 stamps.
Yeah, we're not messing around with those comments.
I mean, I see some of it, but I do feel like there is, once again, I feel like there is some Wesker bias. I fall back on, I think people just are really so enamored. Like, I think they are enamored with Wesker in those games. And don't get me wrong, I love Wesker. He's my favorite character outside, like, as far as like villainous characters go from that game series, and has been for a long time. And that was even before he got the glow up in Code Veronica. I was a shameless fan of Wesker even before that. But But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think that people are not really paying attention to the fact that Wesker is literally just he is as normal. He is as normal as a ham sandwich compared to a Marvel Comics character. Like he is,
Right.
he and probably as common as a hot ham and cheese in the Marvel Comics universe. Like I don't think people realize just how he looks really powerful compared to people who aren't. And that once again, I think that's a credit to Capcom and their ability to. That's a credit to Capcom, and it also shows that they are good at what they do because they made a character who looks so powerful because you're not.
I think if he doesn't appear in Marvel versus Capcom to normalize him compared to X-Men, we maybe don't have the same result in this conversation.
Well, and also I think once again, it's I feel like. And once again, I do take some onus on it. Like I'm not going to hold you. I felt like I didn't have to hammer home. Person absorbs all kinds of attacks and becomes stronger as he does so. I felt like I didn't have to make a huge argument for that. I felt like it was pretty self-explanatory, but
fair.
But no,
you heard it here first. Ernie thinks the Who Would Win Masters audience is dumb. He's not going to say it out loud, but he's saying it out loud.
Wow. Well, no, I have been accused. Of over-explaining things at times. So I was like, you know what? No, I'm assuming that that I wouldn't have to here. But no, I do feel like maybe there was a misinterpretation, or maybe I didn't sell the idea of what Bishop is capable of, because I mean, like I said, Bishop has fought people way more powerful than Wesker and come out the other side of it. So
there you go.
and just for FYI, Bishop does not shoot bullets. So he shoots lasers.
And as Matthew Dawson said in the chat, I voted for Bishop because Bishop uses lasers, and lasers are cool. So there you go.
They are really cool.
They are.
All right.
They are very cool.
We're going to leave that as the last word. Lasers are cool, Matthew Dawson. And we're going to come right back to kind of talk about where we're going forward and what we've been watching. So stick around and enjoy what comes on the rest of this episode.
All right, we're back. Watch out for your Lasers Are Cool t-shirt coming to a merch store near you. And it is time for email. We're going to do some email, and it's not from Luke this time, starting us off. Look at that.
And here's the deal. I did not hear any hashtag email song long version in the comments, so you're getting the short version today.
Yeah,
that's
just
already
an hour over. Let's go short version.
Who would win Masters? Email time. It's Who Would Win Masters? Email time.
We all know that song could go on a lot longer, but it's not going to. Ryan, a new writer of emails. It's not Luke. Luke, we love you anyway. But Ryan has wrote in, and he's got a banger here. And again, buckle in for a sec. I've been thinking about sending an email for a while and finally decided to give it a go. This might be a bit long, as I'm going to have some thoughts on the show, both matches, and some battle ideas. First off, I want to say how much I love this show. Thank you, Ryan. I stumbled upon it long ago and proceeded to watch every single episode on Spotify and kept up with it ever since. I really appreciate how much thought goes into actually making interesting matchups and how every debater has their own way of doing things. I will admit, there was a period I was growing uncomfortable with the show because of a certain factor that is no longer involved with it. Could be anybody or anything.
Who knows?
But boy, have things gotten better. And as a side note, shout out to Sam for being the perfect addition to the show. Now, with that said, in regards to the matches, Daredevil versus Killer Croc. I've always liked Croc a lot, and the Daredevil show got me to like his character too, so this is one that I was excited for. Going into it, I did think Daredevil would have this easily, but after the battle, I was surprised to realize I was siding with Croc on this one. I think Gina shot herself in the foot a couple times when she conceded that it would take place on a dock and by admitting that Daredevil would likely get hit. She tried to argue that he could take it, and I'm sure he could take some big blows. But the thing with agile characters is that they can't deal enough damage with individual hits, which I didn't hear anything to make me think Daredevil could. Well, then it becomes a war of attrition. And that's where agile characters have a disadvantage because they have to be constantly dodging and wearing themselves out as they try to do enough to bring down the opponent. And it sounds like Croc is guaranteed to land a hit, which might not keep him down, but it's sure to stun and injure him, which would make it even harder for Daredevil to keep it up, especially considering how savage Croc is. I could see Daredevil slowly whittling away at Croc and then getting caught by one heavy blow, and suddenly he's on the back foot, let alone if Croc manages to sink his teeth into him. I imagine after the first hit, it won't be long before another hit lands, and at that point, Daredevil will need to either get more aggressive and hope to land a strong enough blow or get out of there, and either choice is likely to result in him losing this one. Now, Bishop versus Albert Wesker. I love another Marvel versus Capcom match. Storm versus Dante is one of the best episodes of this show, quite honestly. How about that? I like both characters, but only know some about them, which is a fun place for these to be. I have to say, I feel Ernie was not quite as detailed as I would like. For instance, he mentioned Bishop being high in the XSC ranks, but I don't know what that is or why I should care. Ray, on the other hand, gave a lot more specific skills for Wesker, so I feel at the end of this I know more about him than Bishop. Now, Bishop seems like an impressive character, and I know somewhat how his powers work and why beating Nimrod is a big deal, but I don't believe Ernie gave enough info in his points to get a clear picture of how it'd help in this fight. I'd like to know more about that gun, too, because it sounds more impressive than the usual weaponry people use to fight Wesker. Well, there it is. So basically, while Ernie gave me enough to believe that Bishop could win, I have to go just off the points made in the episode, and because of that, I give it to Wesker myself. Now, I'm always unsure when it comes to battle ideas, because I don't know what series y'all are going to know enough about to consider, but I would like to say I think Soul Calibur is a good one to draw from. I love me some Soul Calibur. Would need to figure out how much of the gameplay is still accurate, though, considering in gameplay these characters can be stabbed through by a giant sword and lifted up in the air and still fight, but if you kick them in the shin 20 times, they drop. But I still think there's a lot of work for any of those characters, and I'm obligated to say Dynasty Warriors would be a fun one to take characters from, too. I also would like to see some more scenarios. Oh, okay. Perhaps various monsters or mythical creatures. Could Leon Kennedy beat a tribe of kobolds when they have prep time? Could Captain America take on Death Slad from D&D? That sort of thing. I don't know if it'd work with the format. It's just been something on my mind as I watch these. Keep up the good work, everyone. I'm amazed how much I still enjoy each episode. It's not that amazing after all this time, and it's still so much fun to learn about more characters and see what unexpected matches coming up next. Might try and do this more regularly, though perhaps a bit shorter next time. Thank you so much, Ryan. I look forward to hearing your correspondence again. Great job.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. I appreciate that, especially the parts about me. No, I love the D&D stuff, and I know we did Vecna, even though that was the Stranger Things version, but that is D&D, and I think we could possibly try and do some more of that if people are interested.
Yeah, I got bullied in the old show to doing Drizzt de Erden on an episode, and it was fascinating. It was fascinating.
Yeah.
So anyway, we got some Discord versus battle suggestions. We got Eric in here. We got Ernie in here. Let's go through a little more rapid fire as we rocket to the end of this episode. We got 5 suggestions from the people at home. Right. Sam, you want to read this first one?
Sure. This is Dr. Moxford, PhD. Starting out with a banger. This is Muppet Babies versus the Rugrats.
Wow.
They meet at a park for a play date. But this isn't an ordinary playtime. Tommy, the de facto leader, versus Kermit, unsure captain. Miss Piggy faces off against Angelica in a bossy battle. Chucky, who always summons up the courage, pairs against the fearless Gonzo. Phil and Lil in a twin battle with Scooter and Skeeter. Spike the dog tries to take a bite out of Animal, while Susie and Rolf chill off to the side. Two groups masters of their imaginations and environments. They have had so many adventures and experiences, but only one can win. They match up so well. I'd like to see how this would play out. It's interesting.
Interesting.
I like
Yeah.
that one.
I do.
I'm full
Yeah.
Muppet Babies on this one. I'm not going to lie. The Rugrats have got a lot going on. They're scrappy, but I think the Muppet Babies use their imagination maybe a little bit stronger. And you've got Animal and Miss Piggy on that team. Need I say more?
I mean, those are fantastic characters. Yeah.
I think Piggy locks it. I think Piggy solos the whole
A fair
Rugrats
amount.
team.
Yeah.
The whole Rugrats
That
team.
could be. Yeah.
Yeah, the Muppet Babies got an advantage, but I still think it'd be a good, interesting one.
No, for sure. That's a good conversation to have. Let's do the second one here from Warpath 723. The Super Mutants from Fallout versus a group of tyrants from Resident Evil. 5v5. 5 Super Mutants versus 5 mass-produced tyrants from Resident Evil. What do y'all think about that one? I have my thoughts.
I'm not sure about I don't know those characters as well, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not super familiar.
It's a tough one because the super mutants are powerful. So are the tyrants, but they're different types of powerful. Like tyrants are virtually indestructible and only just further mutate the more they get hurt. So I'd have to give it to the tyrants.
I agree completely. I think the tyrants do win that. I think they're tougher and can take more damage, although they rely on melee, whereas the super mutants, unless you got one of those super mutants walking around with the giant nuclear bomb in their hands, the suiciders, I think they're called, one of those could do some real damage. So that's the question. If you got one of those, it might just be a 0 versus 0 at a certain point.
All right.
But the tyrants, I think, win. But now that I'm thinking about it further, I don't know. There's a lot of types of mutants out there.
All right. I do want to say Warpath is a newer Discord member, so shout out to him, as well as Nathan78, who drops this one. Galadriel versus Daemon Targaryen with the dragon. I think if Galadriel, and I wrote this on the Discord, if she has the Ring of Power, if the her ring, if the One Ring has not been destroyed yet, her ring this is a complete curb stomp for her. But even without it, I think she's still more powerful than the combination of a Targaryen with a dragon.
Yeah. I mean, because once you take the like if the dragon falls out of the equation,
then she's
it's a wrap. It's a curb stomp immediately. So it would all really come down to how she handles the dragon. If the dragon gets pieced up, it's send it on out.
I don't think.
Does she have an attack that can ground the dragon? That's my question.
Galadriel is pretty nimble, and she's. I mean, I'll put it like this: Galadriel, in the things I have seen, she has never shied away from fighting anything of its like. So,
yeah.
I feel that. All right. Well, Forbidden Mob gave us. Oh, this is a good one, Ernie. I want you to talk first on this one. We got Apocalypse versus General Zod. 2 evil leaders that do whatever it takes to win. These Titans would offer a pretty premium, beefy content.
Love it.
That is a tough one because for as much as I love Apocalypse, Zod is ridiculously powerful. Like powerful in a way that, like, Apocalypse is very strong. But I've also seen Apocalypse brought low by people less powerful than Zod. So I think it'd be one of those things where it wouldn't be like a wash. It wouldn't be like an easy 1, 2, 3 clean in the middle of the ring. But I think it would definitely be one of those, like, it would be like one of those like 1 hour classics that has to go into overtime probably. But the thing about Zod is just, he's
A bad
evil Superman. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
like and kind of similar to a lot of other things. Well, he has the same type of powers when it really comes down to it. Kryptonians all use their abilities, while similarly, some of them use them very specific ways. But Zod is powerful in a way that like he would not be uncomfortable in a fight against someone even as powerful as Apocalypse. There would be a lot of grandstanding, a lot of pontificating, and a lot of talking while fighting because they're both talkers.
Yeah.
But I think it would be a great matchup. But I do think Zod would come out the other side of it, even if only just barely.
They both got that war mindset, like over like Superman doesn't have that, and that's where he goes up against Superman, but Zod being just a war-minded person, which Apocalypse is too, so that would be good, yeah.
Yeah. Zod is scary in most situations, like and so is Apocalypse, but like there's a reason why people get scared when Zod shows up.
That's fair. No, this is a battle, I think, like, of all the battle suggestions we get in the Discord, this is one I think could definitely see an episode of the show. Let me say that.
Yeah, for sure. I would love to see this happen.
Very good.
All right. The last one we have comes from Matthew Dawson, who says, the Odyssey scenario, similar to the Die Hard scenario. I want to hear who you think would be an interesting to replace Odysseus in the Odyssey.
So the Die Hard scenario, for those who don't know, is where if you replace John McClane with a different fictional character, where's the level of it's 50-50 at that point, and can that person win? And we're going to do that battle when we figure out who that person is around Christmas time of this year.
Yeah.
We've already got tabs on that. So this is the Odyssey scenario. I would replace Odysseus with the Punisher, and I would be very curious
That's
how
actually who I
that
was thinking
goes.
of.
Because he would handle things in a different way. Let me just say that out loud.
Sure. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the first person that came to my mind was Punisher.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, same. That was the first character that kind of popped into my head was Frank Castle. Like,
nice.
I can't even really tell you why either. Like, it just
right.
was,
It's just like Frank Castle.
Yeah.
I think because he's really a superhero with no powers, so he's a regular guy like the main character in Odyssey, but yet he's definitely special. So, or you know what I mean? Like he's got skills and stuff like that could be used in that storyline.
Do we go super meta and say Jason Bourne?
Or
how would Jason Bourne handle the Odyssey?
Or John Wick?
John Wick?
Yeah.
But I'm going to go all the way and say, how
Jason
would
Bourne would be
NFL Super Pro handle the Odyssey?
You know what?
I think he clears
I
it.
like that. I like that pick. Because Super Pro is a deep cut.
Super Pro, one of my favorite characters of all time, famously on this show. We have not had him on Who Would Win Masters yet, but trust me, we will. I got all 12 issues right back here, and I'm ready to read them again. It was suggested also Nightcrawler in the Odyssey scenario.
Okay.
Matthew Dawson says it's a good one.
Okay. I can see that.
Sure.
I can see that.
Let's get to our last couple rounds here because we're running crazy long on this, as expected.
This is a long one.
What we're watching, what we're playing, I'll go first. For the first time, it's been suggested to me by a lot of people. I saw a movie called Ready or Not, which is a horror comedy movie where the general gist of it is on the wedding night, the bride is being brought into this rich family who loves games. They have to pick a game at random. She picks the one bad one randomly, and it's hide and seek, where everyone is trying to kill her before dawn, or if she doesn't die, they will all die for mystical means, or so they believe. And so it's a really wild romp. It's comedic in tone, but very violent. And I liked it. I wish I loved it. I give it a very solid 7 out of 10.
All right, fair. I have, of course, I always like to start off with the family one that we've been watching. So
that was my family pick as well.
There you go. Okay. Very good. Very good. Daughter already has therapy. Is that anyway? We watched the Adam Project, which is Ryan Reynolds.
I love
By the
that
way,
movie.
in honor of Bishop, all of my what I've watched this week are time travel. So the Adam Project is Ryan Reynolds, who travels back in time to find himself, accidentally kind of travels back to, find himself, and then with his younger version, change the future to save Zoe Saldana, who actually is not dead. Oh, did I spoil that? I probably spoiled. That was probably a spoiler. But it's a Ryan Reynolds film. Not that those are bad. It's entertaining. It might not be the deepest, most time travel does this and this. It's a fun movie. Definitely easy to watch with the kids. Is it an amazing movie? Maybe not. But I would probably give this about a 7 out of 10.
I was gonna say, the kid that they have play like the younger version of him is perfect.
He's, I believe he's the kid that plays Percy Jackson in the Percy Jackson series.
Yes.
And he's great. He does a really good job. Also in it, Jennifer Garner as the mom, Mark Ruffalo as the dad, which is the exchange between the two Adams and Mark Ruffalo. That is a very fun time. So
that's great.
Just for that, it's worth it.
Yeah. I really liked that movie a lot when I saw it. It's one of those movies that's really good if you don't think about it too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
Good, yeah.
Well, Ernie, what you got for us?
I recently watched a Bob Odenkirk movie called Normal.
Okay, I just heard about this movie.
I have not seen it yet, but I want to.
It's a really good, kind of action comedy, and kind of a, I would even go as far as say dark comedy. Just because some of the stuff that happens is really grim, but it's also funny. But no, it's about a guy who, Bob Odenkirk, mind you, a guy he's an interim sheriff, which I learned when looking up stuff about this movie. Not a thing. This is not a thing. There's no such thing as a traveling sheriff that goes from town to town and holds down the fort until the real sheriff is elected. That's not a thing. So don't ever go look for that job. But no,
my career path is totally taking a hit.
Oh man.
but no, he's an interim sheriff. He's waiting for he's basically there to keep the seat warm until they hold the elections and actually get whoever they want to be sheriff of the town. And that's only important in so much that the town has a dark secret. And they are all in on the secret. I mean, it's not really much of a spoiler because if you've ever seen the trailer, they basically just give it away. But the reality is that the town has a secret connection to something shady. And Bob Odenkirk's character kind of uncovers it by accident.
Love it.
And now he's in a fight for survival because the whole town is turned on him. And I'll leave the rest for everyone to figure out. But yeah, it's a violent movie. It's a funny movie. It's a very entertaining movie. Has some nice little twists and turns. And has a lot of people in it that you'll go, oh, hey, I know who that person is.
So I have a question. When did we as a people, as a culture, see Bob Odenkirk hit 60 years old and think to ourselves, let's make this man an action star?
It's
how did that happen? I didn't vote on this.
I didn't vote on it either, but I will definitely say I'm okay with it now. I'm more okay with it than I was. I enjoyed Nobody, but I actually like Normal better. I think I like Normal better. I feel like it scratches all the right itches that a movie of its type should. At no point was I bored ever. I was constant. I was locked in, especially once you realize what's going on when they start kind of pulling the curtain back a little bit on some of the things that are going on within the town. And I will just say the funniest rocket launcher death ever.
Wow, more than Punisher Warzone.
Only because of the timing is key, just like in Punisher Warzone. Mm-hmm. And while I will definitely say the Punisher Warzone was more, I would say it's more unexpected, but I saw the trailer so many times I knew it was coming. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But in this, because there was no trailer that gave it away, this was more effective because it was kind of like
Interesting. Okay.
it was kind of like oh, I didn't expect that to happen.
Fair. No, that's fair. I love that. You know, it's funny because I just watched Bob Odenkirk in The Bear. We just finished season 4. We're getting caught up. Yeah. And you would not think of that man as an action star. You know what all his action movies have in common?
No.
They both start with the word no.
Yeah.
But I'm a huge Bob Odenkirk fan. Can I tell? I'm into real quick. I know this show's going long. I saw Bob Odenkirk at an East Hollywood Ralph's like over a decade ago. And I was shopping. I was coming home from work. It was about 2009. So this is a long time ago. I used to work at City Walk here at Universal Studios. And I was taking the subway home, and I made a stop to go to the Ralph's supermarket to get some groceries on the way home late at night. And as I'm getting my stuff, I see Bob Odenkirk at the Ralph's wearing a robe, like a bathrobe, wandering around the produce department at like 11:30 p.m., mumbling to himself. And I thought to myself, I love this man. I would like to say hi to this man. This is not the appropriate time to do that. So I left Bob Odenkirk alone.
That seems like the right move.
And there's no doubt in my mind, yes, it was for sure Bob Odenkirk. Anyway, I've been wanting to share that for a long time. It's an important part of my history somehow.
Yeah.
Anyway, Eric, what you got for us on this?
So for the summer, I love summer because then I can catch up on stuff. So I caught up on The Boys. I caught up on Invincible. I tried watching Witcher. That is a really confusing show, the first season.
I couldn't do it.
I didn't make sense to me. I'm like, I gotta rewatch this. I also, I'm watching Squid Games. But the game that I want to bring up is, if you ever played it, it's Marvel Champions. It's a card game.
Mm-hmm.
And they release every so often new scenarios. Well, guess what? The scenario is that they just released this week. Daredevil. So it's like Show No Fear.
Look at that.
And the two heroes is Daredevil and Echo. And I know in it, Kingpin's in it and Bullseye's in it. So I'm going to have to get it pretty soon. But yeah, that just literally got released this week.
Love it.
So I'm looking forward to that.
All right.
Great.
Fair enough. Let's do speed round.
Cool.
One more round for everybody. I watched Lucy with Scarlett Johansson. I mentioned it earlier. I wanted to like it, but the movie kind of becomes a mess in the third act, which sort of like lessens sort of a lot of the wish fulfillment that was happening up to that point. It's another solid 7 out of 10. I'm not, I didn't hate it by any stretch of the imagination, but I wanted to like it more than I did.
All right.
Lucy gets super.
Going...
Lucy has a drug explode on her insides, which turns her into a Dr. Manhattan. That's basically the gist of it.
I do think I saw that, and it's clearly left an impression of, I do think I saw that. But,
I mean, that's just it. No.
Yeah.
I left that movie thinking to myself, well, I'm glad I've seen it.
All right. If we're only doing one more round, I'm going to squeeze 2 in here because I really want to. The first is Time Bandits, and no, it is not the Time Bandits movie. It is the Apple series with Lisa Kudrow, produced by Jermaine Clemente from Flight of the Conchords, who does play Pure Evil, directed by, I hope I don't destroy this name, Taika Waititi, who directed Jojo Rabbit, What We Do in the Shadows, and he plays the ultimate good guy, the god character whose name I can't remember right now because it's not a real
Somehow
name.
You got that name right, but blue Jermaine Clement. So I don't know how that happened.
I did. Did I? I was trying to go
you called
fast.
him Clemente, like he's Roberto's brother.
That is a better name, so I think he should reconsider that.
Maybe you should change it. Yeah, that's fair.
Maybe he should. It's got a nice ring to it. This was, really, really fun. And I love the original Terry Gilliam property of Time Bandits. So going into this, I had a very high, expectation and bar for this. And they made some very big changes, and it is a very different story. There's, some parallels, but it is not the same thing at all. And I'm okay with it. Like, they introduced Kevin has a sister, and at the beginning of it, you're like, oh, she's the worst ever. She becomes the best character, possibly my favorite character in the show. And and it's got a lot of heart, and it's funny, and it's interesting, and it's got a lot of nods to very Monty Python humor at the same time as staying more, present day and relevant and stuff like that. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die with Sam Rockwell, Juno Temple, Michael Pena, a bunch of other people. Sam Rockwell comes into this diner dressed as an unhoused cyberpunk-looking guy who then basically takes it's 5 or 6 people hostage from the diner to save the future. And the movie just proceeds to get more insane from that point.
Interesting.
It is fantastic.
I wanted to see this, yeah.
It's so good. I don't want to say, I don't want you to set your expectations so high because of what I've said, but God, it's so good. I wish they would make this into a series. This was a very concise story, so unless they go backwards, they can't.
Yeah.
But maybe.
Fair.
Yeah. All right.
So Ernie, you got one more for us?
Yes, I do. I have been watching one of the most depressing shows ever in the history of ever lately, and it is called Dark Side of the Ring.
Okay.
A lot of people who follow me probably already know that I'm a huge wrestling fan, but also I love I also love documentaries and docuseries, and I've been a big fan of Dark Side of the Ring, and I've been watching the most recent season that's played out, and so all the stuff with like TNA, Jeff Jarrett, and Dixie Carter, and all that stuff. The Necro Butcher versus Samoa Joe. Been a fantastic season so far. Really diving into some stuff that like stuff that I was knowledgeable about, but also stuff that I didn't know as much about, and I learned a great deal. I will also sneak in, if you are someone who is a fan of Korean horror movies,
Yep.
especially if you're a fan of movies like Train to Busan and Peninsula, its follow-up movie, there is a new film out called The Colony, or I think it's just Colony, but it's directed by the same guy who made Train to Busan and Peninsula, Yun Sang-ho, and it takes the zombie genre and really kind of does some really fun and interesting things with it. Like, if you're one of those people that, if you're like, oh, hey, I'm tired of zombie movies because they don't do anything new. This will be the one that'll change your mind. Matter of fact, there's a shot that a lot of people have been geeking out about the upcoming Resident Evil movie that's coming out, I think, in September.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shot that this movie had in it, and it was made before the Resident Evil movie.
Oh boy.
That's kind of interestingly similar. I'll only say in so much that zombies forming one unit, and I'll leave it at that.
What was this
but yeah,
called
it's a good
again?
movie. It's called Colony. It's a Korean film.
It's a historical drama about the original 13 colonies of the United States.
Fantastic.
Told through the lens of a Korean perspective.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
But
love it.
Yeah, but no, it's really good. It basically it's got a lot of the same stuff you would probably expect. Crazy virus gets loose, shenanigans. There's nothing new there. But they do some interesting stuff with it. How the zombies become aware of other people, like the kind of the rules of engagement. Like, are these fast zombies? Are they slow zombies? Are they are these zombies that are smart, or do they have any kind of recognizance of anything? Like, is the person still in there? And I've been seeing a lot of really good zombie stuff coming out of Korea. They've been really kind of raising the bar. Really, the entire like Asian kind of segment of filmmaking, especially in the Korean and Thai sectors, have been really like upgrading the zombie genre in some really cool ways. But this is definitely, I will say, like, keep an eye out for it. And if you see it, sit down, give it a look.
If I could piggyback on that real quick before we get to Eric, I'm a big fan of a Korean zombie movie, One Cut of the Dead, which I don't want to say too much about, because I was deeply confused and enraged at my own confusion about halfway through the movie. But by the time it was done and I got it and and it clicked, I was jumping out of my chair cheering when the final credits started rolling. So One Cut of the Dead is a meta zombie movie on its surface. It's a movie about a low budget zombie movie, and a zombie outbreak happens while they're shooting a low budget zombie movie. That's all you need to know
really
walking
good.
in. I
Yeah,
could say
I
more
have
to
to see
spoil
that.
it, but I won't.
No,
Go check it out. It's delightful.
All
It's
right.
on Tubi, I
Very
think.
good.
So there it is.
Yes.
Eric, what you got for us there?
I don't got much. I did go and buy, because of the show, I went and bought Dungeon Crawling Carl, so I need to read that book.
There you go.
Nice.
I have to know more
Ooh,
about that character
very
and everything.
Very good.
And then the other thing I've been watching is, like I said, I'm a high school teacher and I coach soccer, so yeah, I want to read those. I'm going through withdrawal right now with the World Cup being done. It's like the first,
True.
like there's 3 games every single day, and I was watching 3 games every single day.
You're right.
And now it's like,
wow,
wow, there's nothing on TV now. So it's like, that's all I did.
Come on, man. You got
So,
early July. You got mid-July baseball. What? Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh.
The MLS, the Major League.
Yeah, it's all true. It's all true. Well, tell you what, I've got one more, and then we're going to kind of rope to the end here because I've replayed Blues and Bullets Episode 1, one of my favorite story-based video games of all time. It's one of the weirdest games I've ever played. It's going up on my YouTube channel at Game with Ray 2. Game with Ray is one word and then the number 2, because some idiot took Game with Ray away from me 9 years ago and then didn't make any videos with it. I'm very mad at him. But at Game with Ray 2 is where we landed on right now. Blues and Bullets, it's a 2-parter, and it's going to be both episodes airing this week. As you hear this, you may be able to catch part 1 right away. And so it's a weird game that takes place in a noir style with Elliot Ness, Al Capone, but it's so much weirder than you could ever imagine. We're talking satanic cults, the Hindenburg. It's wild. You're going to love it. Anyway, movie night. We haven't done a movie night in a little bit. It's just timing-wise hasn't worked out. Early August, expect us to do another one. We are only two new Patreon members away from watching Low Rollers, the no-budget comedy that I was in 150 years ago about the seedy world of underground marbles tournaments. And I want to show it to you. We only need 2 new patrons on the Patreon. Free works. So if you're listening to this, you know that you could be one of those people. Once we hit 2 more people, we're going to do it at movie night. So there it is. Next battles to rope us home. Leatherface versus the Bride, the 4th of 4 different summer tournament battles. Leatherface versus the Bride. Robert Clark Chan versus Kevin Israel. Everyone's excited for this battle. You're going to love it when you hear it. That's going to come out on Thursday. And then finally, next week's battle for the main line, we're doing a AAA battle here. We've got Harry Potter versus Luke Skywalker with special guest Matthew Medney.
Yeah, look at that.
It's a battle I've been wanting to revisit for a while, and Matthew Medney has a host of wonderful things that he's a part of. Was it Gungnir Books, I believe is the name of it. I didn't write it in my notes. Yeah. I should have. He's one of the owners of that. Ran Heavy Metal Magazine for a while. I mean, he's an awesome guy, and you're going to love hearing him on the show, I'm pretty sure. So big battle next week, Harry Potter versus Luke Skywalker. In the meantime, Ernie, we're going to hit you first. Where can people find you? Hit us up with your socials. I got to go to the bathroom. This has been a long episode, so let's get this out the door.
Well, I will make it quick. All you got to do is go to Blerd Without Fear on YouTube, at Blerd Without Fear, pretty much anywhere really just on Threads. I don't do anything else. But YouTube, Threads, Blerd Without Fear. I post videos every week. I'm running through the X-Men 97 series. I'm doing reactions and breakdowns of each episode, very big detail. And also I live stream twice a week on Thursdays and on Saturdays. So you can always drop in and who knows, you might actually have a very good time because I get really spicy. So there you go.
I'd love to hear it. And Eric, anything you want to point us towards?
You know what? I'm just, Eric Heiting, whatever, on Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. You can see pictures of my family and my soccer team from this spring. That's basically what I post on there. So
There you
that's
go.
what it is.
Nice, nice.
Good enough for me. It's
Very
nice
good.
having normal people on the show once in a while.
Yeah. I'm just your average Joe. Really, I am.
There it is. There it is. All right, Sam, go ahead. I have nothing else to add. I talked about the YouTube
All right.
channel. 2 more patrons. Bring us home, Sam.
All right, we are closing the book on these battles, but the debates roll on. Jump into the Who Would Win Masters Discord. Let us know what you really thought about these episodes and who really won, and suggest battles for the future. And if you've got an Alexa device, next Tuesday, don't reach for your phone. Just say, Alexa, play Who Would Win Masters, and let us start your morning. Oh, that's some real good copy. Whoever wrote that. Nice.
Nice job.
Listen, Patreon is where your official polls live, so you can join us for free over on patreon.com/whowouldwinmasters. Or if you want to support the show, drop us a little money over on that side of things. And if you think you've got what it takes to jump into the challenger's chair, record a 1-minute video demo of yourself, send it to whowouldwinmasters@gmail.com, and we might see you sitting across from Ray in a future episode. Next week, we're back in the arena with 2 amazing battles. I want to take a quick moment to thank all of our new Patreon followers. So a quick shout out to the awesome people, Carrie Heiting, Aaron Atherton, Paladin Soul, and the amazing people supporting us on Patreon, Aaron Atherton, Ryan S., Dylan G., Chosen, Michael S., Matthew Dawson, Ollie Lowe, William Schmidt, Douglas R., Nathan78, Eric Heiting, hey, there he is, Lord Moxford, Forbidden Mob, Lord Snurts, and Delvin Cox. For Who Would Win Masters, this is Sam Proof. We'll see you next time in the arena.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.